has been done. After many nights, many days gone by, stress put upon the many people of Pittsburgh and the people outside of Pittsburgh who also cheer for this organization for some reason. But it has been done. Andy Haynes is no more. Well, he's gone. He's still, around. But
he's alive, but he's not here.
Yeah, he's no longer a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. It was announced or reported by Jesse Rogers first that Andy Haynes is gone. It got confirmed by a few different people after that. But he is gone. Bullpen coach Justin Mekage.
I think it's
also gone.
Mikage. I don't know how you say it.
Also gone. And strength and conditioning coach Aiden Vish is also gone. Parting ways is the terms used. But Haynes, after a stint in Pittsburgh...
That's one way to describe it.
Yeah. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, after
he was
time
here.
Spent here, where there, the Pirates really didn't see any advancements in hitting that were directly tied to him, really, or I'd say, hit from his contributions. He is now gone, and that's it. It seems like from everything we heard, we don't. I wouldn't say we know for sure yet on regarding Derek Shelton what is happening there. We do have some comments from Ben that we will get to in a minute here. But Noah, Mike, first reactions. Andy,
I'm happy he's gone.
I mean, I'm happy he's gone, but I want more.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't obviously a guy just lost his job, so it's kind of feels weird to celebrate because I'm sure Andy Haynes is a nice guy, but dude, you just weren't doing your job good.
Nice guys don't win me games for my baseball team, all right? Be good at your job. Literally.
Yeah, no. I mean, we wish all the best to Andy, wherever he may end up, whether that be continues to be at the major league level, college level, or whatever he decides to do next. But clearly, I mean, things weren't working in Pittsburgh. It's been, we've talked about this since the start of the season.
April.
So, I don't really think there's much of a reason to beat a dead horse here. Everyone knew that he was probably going to be gone at the end of the year. And it's kind of wild to think about that I would picture him going and Derek going in one fell swoop, but it was recommended by Pirates ownership from Ben Cherington that they should keep Shelton as manager in 2025.
I was pretty shocked that he suggested to keep Shelton around. I did not think Shelton was going to survive this offseason as the Pirates manager, or at least start the offseason as the Pirates manager after that huge second half collapse.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with a few teams in the past before where if a manager has a collapse like that, whether it be in the playoffs or in the second half for a team where it felt like a lot of people thought they would be in contention, especially, considering that this front office could have sold pieces that they didn't at the deadline, right? There's, a sense of we're going to contend in August, and then all that was wiped away within 2 weeks, really, after the deadline. 2-3 weeks after the deadline.
I wouldn't even say 2 weeks.
Pretty much right over.
I would say the first week after the deadline's when the downfall started.
Shorter than that.
That first week of August, dude.
Quite literally.
Okay, well, a lot of optimism died in that first week of August, but that's something that eventually comes down to coaching, really, and not being able to right the ship, because we saw, for a few months that the team has the talent, and it's really frustrating when you see a team, I love the Tigers, but when you see a team like the Detroit Tigers that just totally take off and overperform and it seems like that hasn't happened in Pittsburgh since when?
2015.
Yeah, like basically a decade from now, heading into next season.
Well,
So
especially whenever the Tigers go into the deadline and sold like all their valuable pieces, pretty much.
Yeah.
Outside of like Riley
Yep.
Green, who's obviously he's not getting traded, but they pretty much traded everyone that was on expiring
They're
deals.
valuable rentals.
Yeah, rentals, and they got significantly better after they traded them.
Or
Yeah.
even the Royals, who went from what, like 105 losses last year to now they're in the division
turn it
series.
around, division series. Yep. Yeah, so like you see it around the league now that it's definitely possible for a team to overperform, and it felt like you expected maybe 1 year of just slight overperformance from where you expected the Pirates to be. I mean, last year I'd say they were about where we thought they would be. Same with the year before that. They never had crazy expectations on them, which makes it that much easier to overachieve in that sense.
I mean,
This year I wouldn't say expectations for them were insanely high. A lot of people just thought, oh, we're at least going to be better than last year. At the very, very minimum, really. Like, if you look at the additions they had this year compared to last year, I felt like that was at least the base expectation, and they couldn't even reach that.
When we went into this season, I had the expectation of a 500 team, 82, 83 wins. That was my expectation. Which after you win 76 games the year before, you'd think that getting to 82, 83 wouldn't be that huge of a leap, especially considering you had O'Neal Cruz for a whole year, you had Paul Skeens for most of the year, and you had Jared Jones for almost the entire year. Those three there should have been enough to get you to 82, 83 wins. Not to mention how good Nick Gonzalez was, or Joey Bart, or some other guys that were surprisingly good this year.
honestly, yeah, because like Dawson, you brought up last year is like. Honestly, I didn't really expect. They did better than I expected, based off just like it was really Mitch Keller and Oviedo were the only starters from post trade deadline to the end of the season, and they finished with a above 500 record in the second half. Like that. Now we get the pitching, and we can't win ball games. So it's frustrating, but
And it's not like this team too was totally doused, with injuries and an insane lack of depth or anything either. I mean, for majority of the year, it felt like most of the guys were there. Really, Key Bryan having the issues he had this year was certainly rough, and there were a few missed starts from Jared, but really there wasn't that much that would result in having the same amount of wins this year as last year.
Jack Sawinski
Or at least
also
one would
hurts
like
too.
to think.
Jack Sawinski was supposed to be a cornerstone of the franchise, and
He was supposed to be a big power hitter, and
completely
what happened?
played himself out of the organization.
Again, like
Yeah.
it has to go back to coaching with Andy Haynes, because you saw that they tried to make him hit for more contact when he's not a contact hitter. So now he has to relearn how to hit for more power again, and that completely threw him off for the entire year. It just comes down to just bad managing and bad coaching. I don't think Ben Cherington's wrong when he says the roster is better. I agree with that. But then you have to ask, well, if it's better, then why did we win the exact same amount of games as last year?
All right, Derek.
Okay, I get where you're coming from, but yes, this roster is better.
We have significantly
It
more
is.
starting pitching than we did last year.
It is
Yeah.
It is better. But no, you're right that the results aren't there. And I think that's the biggest concern for a lot of people is when you are in the, rebuilding or retooling, if, you want to throw some lipstick on a pig there and make it sound better than what it is. It's like people at least want to see a little bit, year after year improvements. I think we saw some improvements there, but if just in terms of you're starting to see a lot of the younger guys come in and perform to near all-star if they haven't reached all-star capability yet. But if you finish last place in the NL Central again and again and again, it's not what you're looking for.
I mean,
and
frustrating.
it's not, because now the thing is we're going to enter the season next year at the same spot that we entered the season this past year. Because Ben's going to stay this year, which a lot of us expected him to be around, and Derek Shelton's probably going to stay around as well. And now a year is essentially gone because we entered the season last year saying, oh, this is going to be the year we need to see these guys step up.
certain guys
We
did.
saw some rookies step up. Yeah, we did see some rookies step up, but same record. And so now we're going to enter the season this year, and where my concern is this year, now it's going to be, the expectation is going to be, again, like 81 wins because, oh, we need to see slight improvement. And if they see slight improvement, then they'll continue on, and hopefully they can build on that. But they can't get to the point where they just become stagnant again, because we're coming up on 10 years now, next year, 10 years from the last playoff appearance. And though when we have seasons like this, where we remain stagnant and we head into next year with a lot of the same coaching staff, in the sense that the manager is the most important person in that clubhouse, and he's coming back after a lot of people didn't want him back, and I'm sure people within the organization didn't want him back as well. But whether it's stubbornness from Ben or ownership or whoever it may be, that they want to keep him around, and or they feel like he hasn't been dealt a right hand and he deserves another shot, we're entering the same spot into next year.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel
it's disgusting because you look at it, and this is 5th year of the rebuild. Technically, if you want to get technical, it's the 6th year, and we didn't get better. Well, roster-wise, like we've said, got better, but we stayed the same. And then, to me, now you mentioned who's at fault for keeping Shelton. Sherrington's last comments, in my opinion, when he says, yeah, I think he said to Nutting that he thinks he should stay. So to me, that maybe says that Nutting was talking to Sherrington and said, hey, what do you think about moving on? And then he basically re-upped and said, yeah, we should keep him. And that's what persuaded him. The way that's worded, am I wrong?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's how
I don't have the exact quote up, but I remember essentially Ben said, like, heading into next year, like, me and him both need to be, held accountable for what happens. Which, I respect Ben for doing that, but at the same time, I'm like...
You could literally lose your job if we had a competent owner. If we had a competent owner, you're both gone right now.
I was gonna say
no. Well, like,
I want him to be. I agree that that's a good thing that him and Shelton should be held accountable. But like, I just don't know how much confidence I have in Nutting actually holding them accountable, though.
Well, I don't know how much confidence I have in Ben now wanting to keep Shelton. Like, I respect it a little bit, just because, you want to stick it out with your guy during your tenure, and, that's his guy. If he's making this move, that's his guy, because he could easily try and, fire him and save himself. We've seen that happen with GMs before, where they said, oh, this manager isn't working out, and then they usually buy themselves 2 to 3 more years as president of baseball ops before they're out the door. But if he wants to stick with them, and next year, I feel next year they got to be over 80 wins at the bare minimum, or they're both gone for sure. I hope it'd be like 83, but I think really it's also going to depend on how exactly the season goes, and what hardships they deal with along the way, injury-wise. But I mean, I don't know about to you guys, but to me, the NL Central looks pretty wide open heading into next year.
It
Or
does.
it seems like it will be.
It seems like there's no team that's far out there in terms of like, oh yeah, they're easily going to win it. I mean, we just saw the Cardinals say that they're basically going to probably retool because their roster is all senior
they're
citizens at this
salary
point.
dump. Yeah,
But
Yeah.
it just seems like that this will be they have to take advantage of that opportunity though. You have too talented of a roster and too close of a division just to stand still and do nothing. You have to do something this offseason to improve yourself.
I mean, yeah, like you said, the Cardinals aren't going to be that good. The Brewers, we just saw what's happened to the Brewers.
The Brewers are probably going to lose some people.
They're going to lose
yeah.
Willy Adames. That's like a 30 home run shortstop out the door.
And the Reds, I mean, if you look at their roster, are pretty similar to the Pirates. There's not any
I was
like
going to say they're in a similar situation. They have
bunch
like
of young
almost the
guys
exact same record.
and a bunch of young pitching prospects on their roster. So it's all going to come down to coaching between us and the Reds, if I'm being honest. Unless obviously, barring any unforeseen acquisitions in free agency or whatever, but I'm not getting my hopes up. But the NL Central's wide open. It's
The one thing I will say about Cherington is like, now this is completely a theory. I'll just say that now, but I just feel like he wants to say more, but he knows he can't. Just the way he says some of his stuff, like how he always says, like, we want to get better with this, we want to get better with that. I just feel like maybe there's more there he wants to say, but he knows that it would be unprofessional to, like, throw someone under the bus, obviously, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, any president, manager, whoever it may be, unless you're the Arizona Diamondbacks owner, apparently. But usually you need to have some sort of level of team speak and, keep a few things under wraps. Some guys are better at that than others, but it happens. For those of you who don't know what we were talking about, the other day, the Arizona Diamondbacks owner essentially threw Jordan Montgomery under the bus and saying how it was his. Yeah, he said essentially how it was his fault that they signed such a stupid contract with how poor he's been playing, and I think maybe he threw that out there because Montgomery, I believe, has a $21 million option, something like that. He has a big player option that he should obviously take because he's not getting that kind of money anywhere else. And I think he's just trying to do anything he can to get him to leave. But no, if I'm Montgomery, that would almost make me want to stay more out of spite.
Not to mention, like, the Diamondbacks still have a good roster. So I mean, I'd accept my money and hope that I pan out.
I just feel like part of it was because he did so bad was because he had no spring training. Remember, he signed like
I think
late
he
March.
should be back to somewhat normal next year.
There's no way he could be as bad as he was. Let's put it that way. Especially with a full off season.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but Pirates Twitter was on fire last night. Oh man. So last night, after the Brewers were eliminated by the New York Mets because it's the Milwaukee Brewers playing in October, I don't know why anyone would expect anything different. But Jeff came out of nowhere with some news that the Reds are hiring Terry Francona as their manager, who we all said last week how no, he's not coming out of retirement. Like, he's not even an option. We really just kind of cold shouldered him. So that came back pretty quickly. A little bit of spoiled milk there, fellas, huh?
I did not with his heart issues. I thought, he's gonna at least take a couple years to spend time with his family and stuff. No, he can't. Comes back a year later.
I figured if anything, maybe he would wait and then wait for a bigger opportunity.
Yeah, like the Pittsburgh Pirates next year.
Exactly what I was thinking, Mike. But Mike, what do you think? What are you thinking of Terry coming back?
Well, as you said, we all thought that this wasn't even a remote possibility this year, but I think it fits well for a young team that needs veteran leadership to have him. I think this could possibly work out like Madden going to the Cubs or Bruce Bochy, someone coming out of retirement going to these young teams, and then obviously we know what happened with them.
Really? How'd that work out for the White Sox?
The White Sox are the White Sox, okay? They're in their own realm right now.
Well, Madden wasn't in retirement yet. He just went from the Rays to the
How'd
Cubs.
it work out for Joe Madden when he went to the Angels? Mike?
Yeah, the Angels.
I
that's
say
more
there are
like
two
it.
sides to this coin, brother. But no, I get what you're saying.
I'm just okay. Yeah, but okay. Look at it this way: the Angels, they're just like the Angels. I don't even know what to say about them. They can't win games. They don't sign pitching. Oh, we need a pitcher.
This
Let's sign
is
Anthony
the
Rendon at
Reds.
$350 million. That's smart. Dude hates his job. He
Yeah.
hates baseball. So let's give him $350 million.
Yeah, now he's going to the Red, but Francona's going to the Reds. I mean, I'm not saying the Reds are awful. They're in the same situation we are, like we said, but
They have a lot of good young pieces.
I think just
Yeah,
the most
no, I
frustrating
really
thing,
like this for the Reds.
Just the most frustrating thing that a lot of people point out is like, it's not the fact that they hired a manager or another manager. It's the fact that the Pirates just kind of are standing pat with their current coaching situation.
Especially because didn't even the Diamondbacks, being 89 wins, just fired like every pitching coach that they had, even though they were 89 and 73, and only missed the playoffs by half a game.
Their pitching was
I mean, but it was
awful.
okay, yeah. But the point is, they were 13 games better than the Pirates.
They're still
And
looking to them.
they're pretty much they cleaned house in the pitching department. It's just like teams that are on the verge of, they were just in the World Series. So it's like, oh, but you could give them one chance, right? One more season. They went to the World Series. Why would you not give them a chance?
Yeah, it seems like that's been a trend lately, though, across baseball is teams that are content with are generally middle of the pack to the lower level of the league, and then it's the ones that actually make bigger, shorter moves that see some success. Because I feel like in baseball, it's eventually, if you make enough moves, it's like something's got to be right to a point. You want to maintain your staff at least a while, for organizations, but I'd say the Pirates now have passed that point. To where you feel like, where it's like you feel like you need to keep somebody because it is, you want to maintain a attractive enough place to managers where future managers coming in at least feel like they'll have a shot and they won't be gone after like 2 years.
Well, we've certainly shown that.
Yeah.
We're
Correct.
keeping Derek Shelton for the 6th season, right? This is his 6th year or 5th? Fifth. Wait.
If you count 2020, it's his 6th. This is gonna
Okay,
be his
so
sixth.
fifth full
I would
season.
count 20 as a managerial season.
Okay, fine. We'll say 5th full season. And what do we have to show for it?
Very little.
Exactly. So you have job security with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Wait till you have that one winning season, because then you're getting a lifetime contract. Jesus Christ. I can't. Oh, you just pissed me off with that one. All right, no, move on.
Yeah, well, it is safe to say the Pirates did fall a bit short of where we all expected them to be this year. But for you guys, just how far did they fall from that mark, from your own expectations? Noah, we'll start with you.
Well, like I said earlier, my expectation was at least 500. So like 82, 83 wins, somewhere in that range. And, well, needless to say that they fell pretty short of that. So, but it really feels like we lost 100 games somehow because we only won 76 with Paul Skeens and Jared Jones and Nick Gonzalez and a healthy O'Neal Cruz and Bailey Falter, who was solid. It just feels it was a rough. The 76 wins feels a lot rougher than last year.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what we said in our very first episode for wins and losses. How we're talking about if Sherrington and Shelton should be on the hot seat, and we basically said if we were at the same point or worse, that there's like no way they come back. And here we are, they're coming back. But like my expectations, yeah, similar to Noah's. I said somewhere in like 83, 85 wins. It's like a nine win increase, just about somewhere in that ballpark. Because we're also all thinking the bullpen doesn't completely sputter and fall apart. Because I mean, if they hold together, I think we might be up that where we projected, or at least 500. So I mean, there's a lot of key points that led to it being a letdown. Because I mean, like you said, last year, I mean, we won 76 games. My mentality personally was that we're like, oh wow, we're not eliminated yet, and we're like halfway through September. Mathematically, this is a win. Typically, we're already gone at this point. So I don't know. That's where I stand on that.
And then I mean some of the contributing factors here. I mean, you know, we've all talked about how poor we thought the lineup management was, and also the roster management of just how long it felt like some people that got called up. I mean, we made jokes about it during the season that we thought people were missing because that's the only reason it would make sense that they aren't on the major league roster yet. Yeah, the bullpen falling apart, that's something not really any of us could see coming. I mean, that was the number one strength of this team heading into the season. But as far as if you guys had to place the blame for, you know, what happened this season, whether it be on some of the players, whether it be on management, ownership, coaching staff, where would you put that?
I would put it on management. I would put it on the manager, because it's like we said, it's the lineup management, and especially the bullpen management. Shelton made some very, very questionable decisions, and that's playing nicely in the second half of the year when the bullpen just started to completely implode. It was already being held together barely through the first half of the year, but once we got until August and stuff, it just felt like, I don't understand why he was so stubborn with some guys. It's like everyone knew something was wrong with Colin Holderman, but he kept putting him out there for eighth inning opportunity, seventh inning opportunity, time and time again. And he did the same thing with Bednar. Oh, here's the ninth inning again. Oh, here's the ninth inning again. It was like, these guys, there's clearly something wrong with them. They might be injured, and they just didn't do anything. And also, just the roster management, like we said, if we finish with 76 wins, but we called up Nick York, Billy Cook, and Mike Burrows in like mid-August, at least you tried to do something to turn it around. But you wait until like mid-September to call up all those guys. It was like you called them up a month too late, and it's like, what's it really matter at that point when you called up some of them? It's just frustrating with some of it.
I mean, yeah, and then too, another thing was Jared Triolo. I mean, he had an OPS like hovering the 500 mark, and never once was he part of a transaction to be sent down. Not once.
I'm more frustrated about Alika Williams being here as long as he was than Triolo. Triolo is at least a great defender at multiple positions. I mean,
no, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but like the course of the year, as bad as Triolo was from April, like all the way through to the trade deadline, not one time he didn't get like a week stint or a 2-week stint in the minors. That's unbelievable. He was hovering 200 the whole season batting average. OPS was complete dog shit, and the only thing he had was defense. Well, guess what? Our problem isn't defense. We couldn't score runs for a solid month and a half, and then once we started scoring runs, our pitching fell off the face of the earth. So, like, you have to make the moves to counterbalance. And Triolo should have been one of them at one point.
Especially since Williams was here as often as he was. You have two defensive specialist middle infielders on your roster. It's like, you can't carry two all-field no-hit guys on your roster all year.
They need a roster limit.
Especially when you have guys like Nick York and Billy Cook who are hitting great and actually have potential with the bat. And they're not bad defenders. Billy Cook was outstanding when he got here. He made a ton of great plays and a couple outfield assists. It's like, just make a move to improve the offense while not making the defense. You can make moves to improve the offense without making the defense horrible.
Yeah. I mean, you guys hit it on the head for me too. Really, I mean, well, I do think a lot of the offensive struggles specifically did kind of relate straight with Andy and his. I mean, it really felt like a disconnection with the locker room when you have players going to outside hitting coaches, again, like going out of their way to do that rather than just going to the guy.
We should have knew that was a problem
there.
last year when Hayes did it. Like that right there screams that Andy Haynes is a problem. Yet we're gonna keep him into another season. Why? And not only that, they fired the coach that Hayes went to see. How does that make any type of sense? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I've just come to expect controversial decisions by Bob Nutting and whoever the hell they decide to put in the front office, period.
Yeah.
It's the normal in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, earlier, Noah, you did mention Mike Burrows as one of the guys who was delayed in being called up, but he was called up before the end of the season. Would you look
Second
at that?
to last game of the season.
And he made his debut in New York against the Yankees, and who the Pirates will be opening up the season against next year at PNC Park, by the way. But Burrows looked pretty good in his debut against a the top team in the American League.
Imagine if we had him up in the majors and not Jake Woodford or Domingo Herman in August.
The Domingo Herman one was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Dude.
But yeah, no, Burrows, he looked really good. He came in after Skeens, correct?
Yep.
That was the same day?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he
Skeens
too also
only threw a
struck
couple
out Aaron
innings,
Judge.
That's right, yeah, because Judge got the platinum sombrero that day.
He went 0 for 5 with 5 Ks.
5 different pitchers.
Playoff ready Aaron Judge has arrived. But Burrows will be pitching in the Arizona Fall League this offseason. What do you guys think for him? I mean, we'll be watching him closely in the fall, but what do you guys think is going to be his starting role next season? You know, by opening day, do we see him back on the roster? Is he in AAA, or is he with a different team?
I think we should use him as trade bait. I think we have way too much pitching right now just to sit on our hands and do nothing with. I mean, you could easily build a 6-man rotation right now of players on the 40-man roster, and you'd still have pitchers left over going to the bullpen or AAA. So I think you have to make a move, and I would consider moving Mike Burrows.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I was gonna say, I would trade him because when at the deadline, he was one of the names I kept mentioning as one of our pieces to trade, especially coming off Tommy John. You never knew how that's gonna work out, but I think if we keep him, I think he probably starts in AAA, knowing the amount of depth that we have. But I'd like to see him in the bullpen because I mean he looked really good. In New York, making your debut, coming out of the pen and going 3 1/3 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he looked really good, and that's promising because he was able to get through a pretty tough lineup. But he also needs to work up a little bit because he just returned from Tommy John surgery in the second half of this year, so he didn't really get a chance to fully stretch out again. So they'll probably try and keep him on an innings limit if they keep him. But again, I still think they should try and use him as trade bait.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the more realistic guys to get traded. I mean, if you look at the pitching prospects, I don't see them moving on from, say, a Bubba Chandler. Please don't do that. But there's plenty of depth there. I mean, at the Major League roster now, even if you keep one guy and you want to go back to a 5-man rotation and then maybe some spot starts in there from Luis Ortiz or so, but yeah, there's plenty of options. I don't see a reason for Burrows to be in the starting rotation next year. He probably does have the ability to be a starter again and be a starter at the major league level if he draws enough interest from another team. If not, I'm thinking bullpen for the start of next season.
Yeah, I think you start him in
It's
the
sort of
bullpen
mid reliever role. Yeah.
I think you start him in the bullpen and have a multi-inning role if you want to start him in the majors.
Yeah, because he's looked great. I mean, since he came back earlier this year.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. And this, more importantly, though, the stuff has looked good. He's throwing hard again.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, it is almost draft lottery season coming up.
The one thing that we can win.
Getting very close. It is possible. So the Pirates do have the 6th best odds of getting the number 1 pick, which this year they are at a 5.3% chance. Teams that have better odds than them: the Colorado Rockies, the Miami Marlins, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, the Washington Nationals, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Who have just all had stellar seasons this year, all of those teams. But the Pirates do still have a chance at the shot. If you're wondering why the Chicago White Sox and the Oakland Athletics aren't here, I believe it's because neither of them are eligible for, is it top 10 in general, right? It's they can't get the 10th, or they can get the 10th pick.
I think it's like White Sox will get 10th. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember if it was 10th or like they can't get the 10th and they get the 11th. But so the White Sox pay into revenue sharing, and since they pay into revenue sharing, you can't have a top 10 pick 2 years in a row, I believe. And then the A's don't pay into revenue sharing, and they would be in their second year, and you can't have a top 10 pick like 3 years in a row if you don't pay into revenue sharing, which I believe is the difference.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I feel
there we go.
Sure. I'm pretty sure that's how it is, but
I think that I believe that's what it is.
That's so sad for the White Sox, man.
It's confusing.
That's so sad.
Why are the White Sox paying into? Why are the White Sox paying into revenue sharing? Do they really got it like that? Like, I didn't think they did.
Dude, that is so sad for the White Sox. You just lost 21 games, and now you're not even eligible.
I think
for
if
the
you
first
break
pick.
the record for losses, you should automatically get the number 1.
I was gonna say, can they just get the pick out of pity?
I mean, like, low key, this White Sox team might be the worst baseball team that we will ever see in our lifetime. I don't think there's ever going to be another 120 loss team while I'm alive.
Let me introduce you to the 2025 cutting payroll Chicago White Sox. How about that?
Hey, I'll accept it if they give us Luis Robert.
I remember
Miguel Vargas.
I remember
a
couple years ago, one of the comments on my arc was like, it was like 2022. I said, the Pirates will be lucky to win 30 games. Like, you don't realize how hard it would be to lose 130 games?
Oh.
Dude.
Because it was around the time they traded Jacob Stalling, so like I don't know how you would possibly think the Jacob Stallings made up about 30 losses, but all right, man.
Yeah, dude, insane. But yeah, so Pirates currently sitting at the 6th best odds. The draft lottery takes place on December 10th at the winter meetings. Ethan Holiday, top prospect so far, Noah.
That's what Baseball America has him ranked as, the number 1 draft prospect as of right now. Obviously, that can change because there's still a whole college and high school season to go. But as of right now, that's who the number 1 pick, who they think is going to be the number 1 pick. He is Jackson Holliday's brother and Matt Holliday's son, so another Holiday coming through the pipeline.
You ready? You ready for this? This is
what?
Mike Bro Bomb here. Jackson Holiday. No, not Jackson. Jesus Christ. Here, I already stuttered. Here we go. Mike Bro Bomb now. Ethan Holiday, the son of Matt Holiday, will go number 1 overall to the Colorado Rockies because they will win the lottery because they want to see that. MLB wants that. They will win the lottery just so he can go play where his dad played. And if the Orioles could
Like,
have
or-
him, they would win the lottery if they were in here. They would win it, so he can go be with his brother. That's how it goes. It's rigged.
Mike,
Yeah,
are you suggesting that? Well, I guess you just said it there, and you kind of answered my question. So you're saying the draft lottery is rigged?
I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I understand they want to get rid of tanking and, like you said, revenue sharing and everything. But like, how can the White Sox only get pick 10? Like, at least give them a chance at the top 5, even if you disqualify them from number 1. Like that is just.
I think
it's so
if you're
upsetting.
suggesting that MLB is rigging things toward the Colorado Rockies way, you're gonna make some Colorado fans very upset based on how they've been the last couple of years.
No, I'm not saying
Okay,
them
well,
in
it's not
general. I'm saying
necessarily
them
that, it's
them
just
in the
specific
context of the
moments.
holidays is what I'm saying. That's not the Rockies' fault that's where they play.
understand.
But that's an MLB moment type thing to do. Because I mean, like, obviously, like if it wasn't Ethan Jackson, then I wouldn't be making this comparison. You know, if
Yeah,
Colorado wasn't
yeah.
here, like that would have nothing to do with it.
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
I
Colorado
think
Rockies
it'd
also
be-
suffer a lot too. I don't
They
think
do.
it'll be that
I think
big of a deal.
I think it'd be a shoo-in if Colorado does end up getting the first pick that they do draft Ethan.
I mean, Matt Holliday would
As
be
of
in their
right now,
ear.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. I don't know, but
You heard it here
it's-
first.
Oh man,
December 10th. Mike Pro will be right. The Rockies will win the
Yeah.
lottery.
And you know, guys, before we wrap up the show today, I do think there is one more thing we should address because people cannot seem to stop fighting about it on Twitter. I don't know what it's gonna take. You know, maybe this all just needs to end, and you know, people can finally be out of their misery with it. That's everyone involved. Everyone, to the people arguing about it, to the poor souls like us that keep having to see people on Twitter argue about it. I saw someone the other day saying how this is going to be the Padres advancing and all this, this is going to be
Oh, Christ.
such great more exposure for the real Rookie of the Year, Jackson Merrill, and he's going to gather so many more votes playing in October. And, look at the triple he hit the other day. Like, how can you not vote him now for NL Rookie of the Year? Well, let me tell you something, whoever that was that said that, you can't.
The votes
Because
have
the
already been
voting
taken.
closes the voting closes before the postseason, so you literally cannot gain any more votes after the postseason starts. So people are still arguing about it. I still am seeing the same arguments of, Jackson Merrill plays every day.
If Paul
plays
Skeens
every
played
day,
every day,
guys.
the dude's arm would literally fall off. It's physically impossible.
Okay. I like this is what I found. I like going on StatHead a lot, and here's what I found. So Paul Skeens had a 2.14 ERA plus. All right, that's insanely good because 100 is league average. It's one of the stats where 100 is always league average.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, but Noah, did he get that playing every day though?
Unfortunately,
Or did
not.
or did he only dodge competition and play every 7 days, or did he only play every 2 weeks or something like that?
But he was 214 is insanely good. Okay, 100 is league average. It's one of the stats where 100 is always league average. Like I said, 1% is better than average. 99 is 1% worse than average. That's how that works. But 214 is like we're talking about some numbers that would like fit in with like prime Pedro Martinez or something like that. But here's the thing. This is how good Paul Skeens' rookie season is. The last pitcher to have an ERA plus better than Skeens, rookie pitcher to have a better ERA plus than Skeens in 20 or
God.
more starts was Denny Driscoll. Denny Driscoll played in 1882 with the Pittsburgh Alleghenies. Now let me tell you how old. This guy was already 10 years old when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. This was less than 100 years after George Washington had died. So there's very much a possibility that there was someone alive watching him play when they were still alive when George Washington was alive. That's how old we were talking about this record being. And I don't want to hear about people saying, "Oh, everyday playing time." We're talking about Paul Skeens is doing something that hasn't been done since the days of Abraham Lincoln.
I just find it so funny at the end of the year. Obviously, Paul went out and pitched 2 innings against the Yankees. The Padres fans don't seem to want to acknowledge what he did in that game.
I know. That was another one. They're like, "Oh, he's just dodging competition." It's like, yeah,
I will. That is one I didn't understand because yes, one of the most dominant pitchers in all of baseball, who's played against good teams, is dodging competition because he's moving. His starts are getting moved around, whatever it may be. But I'm like, you guys realize that's getting moved around just because of rest or other things happening with the Pirates is why.
Let's not forget how he did.
He's not scared to pitch against the Arizona Diamondbacks, dude. He's not. Especially when on the last day of the season or his last start of the season, he goes and pitches against the New York Yankees, shoves for 2 innings, gets bored, and is like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Two perfect innings, striking out one Soto, Judge, and he literally Jazz Chisholm, and he broke.
And he got
Giancarlo Stanton's back.
Yeah,
on the ground out to the pitcher.
They said, "Oh, he didn't want to face the Yankees." It's like he didn't want to face the Yankees' orders. So I was like, dude, he literally got their best hitters to look foolish at the plate.
Not only that game right there, the Yankees were still competing for the #1 seed in the AL. So they were still putting their starters out there. So you can't sit here and say, "Oh, well, they didn't really care. They were going easy." No, they want the 1 seed.
And I know there's going to be some people complaining about him, only pitching 2 innings in that start, saying, "Oh, he didn't want to go any further. He couldn't have had it in him." I guarantee you, he did not need to start that day at all. He had no reason to even if he didn't want to, he could have just been like, "Nah," and everyone would have been like, "Okay."
Part of me thinks that
everyone would have been like, "Yeah, it made sense."
Part of me thinks that he was the one that vouched and was like, "Yeah, let me go out there and pitch in New York."
Yeah.
Honestly, that very good chance that happened.
There's no way that it wasn't because the way the Pirates season's gone, I don't get why they did. Obviously, the way they've done it, he wouldn't be starting. He would just be done, and they were content with his last start, which was 5 shutout innings, and there'd be no reason to put him out there. But I think that Paul Skeens went to management and said, "Hey, let me go out there and prove that I am dominant by taking out the best team in the American League's best hitters." And which he did. He made him look stupid. Actually, we made Aaron Judge look stupid entirely. The entire team made him look dumb. But besides the point, he did not just judge at Soto and Chisholm. It's impressive. I don't want this to go the wrong way because Jackson Merrill is a great player. But he's having a great season while Paul Skeens is having a historic season. That is the difference. I'm not saying Jackson Merrill's bad. That's not what this is equal to. Because he's very good. And I think he's going to be very good for a long time. But he was not better than Paul Skeens this year. And
yeah. See, the thing is, Jackson Merrill's a good outfielder. He's good. He's not winning MVP.
No.
He's not even going to come close.
And Paul Skeens is going to be a finalist for the Cy Young. He might not win it, but he's going to be a finalist.
Skeens might finish 3rd. There's a very good chance he could finish 3rd in Cy Young voting.
Exactly. So
if not 2nd, maybe.
Again. Yeah. Again, it's what are we talking about?
It's not even close. It shouldn't be close. People who think it's close are Padres fans who don't know any better.
Hey, see, I like the Padres. I just don't care for their fans. That's it.
See, I almost wish we could have found somebody just to hear, because I've read comments, I've read articles of people saying why they think Merrill should win Rookie of the Year. None of it computes in my brain. So, maybe I just need to talk to somebody, but it seems like pretty much anyone I know that isn't tied to the Padres in pretty much any way is yeah, it's Skeens. And I'm like, yeah, correct. But we'll see. Those awards, those will come out when November, those come out
Probably right.
Those are
Like,
after the World
is it the
Series,
first
correct?
week after the World Series? I believe.
I believe so.
Because
like November,
It's pretty soon after.
it's like the first week.
You know, honestly, I just wish they'd do it now so I don't have to see any more stupid things about Skeens and Muriel. It's like I'm
Yeah.
tired of seeing
Because
it.
you already know people are going to keep tweeting about it, even though it can't change.
until the Padres get eliminated, people are going to keep tweeting about it. I was surprised to see so many Padres fans still pressed about it, and I'm like, y'all got a playoff series to work about, you and your 2 starting pitchers. Like, so go figure that out.
Yeah, it's like you're literally about to play the Dodgers, who are one of, if not the consensus favorite to win the NL, and you're still worried about Paul Skeens and the Pirates. Like, come on.
It's no pitch. The Padres and Dodgers are just going to be a competition of no pitching depth versus no pitching
Which
depth.
toxic fan base
Yeah.
gets eliminated first? That is what it's coming down to.
I will say it is one thing if you're doing I think it's one thing if you're just saying, oh, Merrill's my rookie of the year, which, you can say that if you want, if you're a Padre fan. I think it's another thing if, which the tweets I've seen are more along this lines of saying, like, oh, Jackson Merrill plays every day, real rookie of the year, like Skeens barely played this season. So I'm like, dude, he could only
As
play
if
so
he didn't
much.
have
He's a
like
starting
135
pitcher.
innings pitched.
I was
Like,
gonna
is that
say,
not
like,
enough?
the way some people act, you'd think that he got called up in like August.
I know.
He literally started the All-Star game.
Not like early May.
Yeah.
So he had to be up long enough to get the votes to even be on the All-Star team to begin with.
Well, he wouldn't get votes because he's a pitcher, but
Well, not
yeah,
votes, but I'm
semantics,
saying
yeah.
like votes by whoever is selecting the pitchers is what I'm saying. Not vote like fan vote, but I guess wrong word
Yeah.
choice.
I
but
mean,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's still good to see though, at least that most people are.
See,
gonna
now
be
if
on
Jackson
the right
Merrill
side
was in
of
the
history
AL,
with
we
this.
wouldn't have to worry about it. We'd have 2 front runners, and they would be, no one would be arguing right now. But because who's going to win the AL? Colton Cowser.
Probably.
So
Yeah.
and Merrill was better than him. That wouldn't be a debate for that award. But unfortunately, Jackson Merrill is just going to have a very good rookie season with no awards.
Hey, maybe you could win a playoff award somewhere. Maybe, but
That'll actually piss me
I
off.
don't know.
Actually,
What do
are you ready for those tweets? So say they go to the World Series or something, he's like the NLCS MVP.
Oh my
Oh, did
God,
Paul Skeens
dude.
win an NLCS MVP? I don't think so. Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well, what are you guys thinking? Looking at the NL and AL brackets, what we have left. Obviously, we have our Survivor pool, but
Rest and
barring,
piss to my teams.
what you're cheering,
Damn.
what you're cheering for in there. What do you guys think would happen right now?
I keep joking about it, and you guys, I know I keep joking about it, but it would be really, really fun to see a 2015 World Series rematch.
Noah, who do you think is winning? Not what is going to be fun, because no one wants to watch a Royals Mets World Series in 2024. No.
I mean, if they are
It's
all
such
going to
a-
like hit the shit out of the ball and score a lot of runs, then go for it. That'd be the only way. I'm not going to sit here and watch the Royals and Mets win a 2-1 ball game in the World Series and bore the shit out of me. You better be winning like
I feel
10
like
to 9.
I feel like it's going to be a Yankees Padres World Series. If I had to say what are the best team, what
Ooh,
could
okay.
be very interesting and actually good teams and not the Mets and Royals.
Yankees, Padres with no Joe.
No Joe, yeah, that's
So-
true. I kind of forgot about that one.
I want to go like series by series, and this is how my bracket, my new revised bracket, considering I had the Orioles in the World Series, that did not go well. But I'm gonna say that the Tigers are gonna get by the Guardians, and then they're gonna go up against the inevitable force of the New
Guardians, I
York
forgot about the
Yankees.
Guardians.
The Yankees
Yep.
Tigers is my ALCS, and then I'm gonna go with the Phillies. They are gonna end the Mets, and the Mets fans will be back in shambles as the third best team. Yes, I still think the Braves are better, even though the results say otherwise. I still think they're better, and they will go back.
The Braves had to play the Padres.
I know, And the Padres
The Mets
are
gotta play
also
the
going to
Brewers.
beat the Dodgers because Dodgers pitching is not good outside of Yamamoto in the starting rotation.
We could also see a 2008 or 2009 World Series matchup between the Yankees and Phillies.
And
Yeah.
I have the Yankees to win in the AL and the Phillies out of the National League. And I probably
Oh,
would
so
take
that's
the
that's what
Phillies
you have.
to win it.
I don't know. I feel like the Padres. There's just something with the Padres that it feels like they could play way over their heads for like the next month.
Well, the way
So
this
Noah, you have-
postseason's went in the final week, it's been all about the hot teams.
But
so-
if it comes down to the Yankees and Padres, I think I got to go Yankees still, regardless.
No, what do you have for your remaining? Do you think Guardians or Royals?
Guardians. I think Guardians will take
Or
it.
sorry, Guardians or Tigers?
Guardians. I think it'll be.
I think
Guardians.
having all these off days
then-
it's gonna affect them.
Royals, Yankees.
Yankees.
Okay, then who out of the AL? Yankees.
Yankees.
Dude, the Yankees gotta win the AL. If the Yankees don't win the
This
AL,
is their
year,
easiest
that's
route
actually
to the World
sad.
Series. In the
That
last,
is
I don't
actually
even know
sad.
how many times. they've
This
been
is
in
the
postseason.
easiest route I've seen to a World Series in a long time.
They have
But,
to get
okay,
through the Royals or the Tigers or the Guardians.
I
Right?
think every team left in the National League is better than every team in the American League other than the Yankees.
100%. 100%.
I agree. With
Like it's like it's
the
not even
NL
close.
is so,
Okay, so
unbelievably better, like the postseason teams, than the
Yeah.
American League. Now, obviously, teams can get hot and easily overrule that, but
all right, no, a National League. So do you have Padres over Dodgers?
yes.
Okay, and then
I just think
Phillies-
it would be fun to
Phillies,
see the
Mets?
Padres be won. Phillies or Mets?
Phil-
Phillies 100% on that one.
Dude, the Mets, man. If the Mets move on, I don't know what I'll do with myself.
I don't, dude. If
okay,
they,
so
if
the
then-
the
Mets
Phillies
are
somehow
kind of
lose to the
fun if they
Grimace
move
Mets-
on. I'll tell you that.
So do you think? All right, Padres, Phillies. Then who do you got?
Padres, Phillies. I still feel like the Padres could just continue playing like completely out of their minds with their like 50 shortstops on their roster. I don't know. Like realistically, it's probably going to be realistically speaking, and being smart about probably the Phillies. But I don't know. I think it would be kind of funny if it was the Padres.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be a little boring with my bracket, but I'm just telling you now. This is exactly what's gonna happen. The Dodgers are gonna play, or actually no, I'll get to them later. We'll start with the fun side, the American League. The Detroit Tigers are going to advance against the Guardians. I don't think the Guardians are all that. I think them being a 2 seed is wild, but that's just the state of the American League right now. I really like the way the Tigers have been playing lately, and I just want to believe in them. So that's my hot take there. I really think they're going to advance. And I would put money on it if I was betting on that division series. You know, see that's what's next for us, getting a segment sponsored by FanDuel or something.
No,
Dude,
not FanDuel. They locked me out of my account. I can't get back in.
Dude. Okay, moving down, American League, other side of the bracket. Yankees sweeping the Royals. Royals aren't great. They
sweep?
only advance past the Orioles. Yeah, they
Even
only
with the
advance past
playoff
Orioles 'cause
history
the Orioles
of
were
the
playing abysmal.
Yankees, you know,
Yep, I don't care.
a sweep.
Sweep.
Wow, I'd say in like
Okay.
6 games.
Look,
In 6
like, if
games,
you're-
brother, we're in
if-
the division
Or,
series.
no, wait, it's 5. It's 5.
If we're talking like
4.
realistically speaking, and like not just doing it because we think that there's gonna be a complete like underdog or a complete upset or something, the Yankees should go to the World Series.
Yeah.
Based on what's left.
Okay. So then on the AL, I have the Yankees, then beating the Tigers in 5 games in the ALCS to advance to the World Series. Because that's when the Tigers and their one starting pitcher is going to catch up to them. It's going to be that 7-game series. Their
If they
pitching
lose
staff's
that
not
game
gonna be
that
able to hang.
Scooble pitches, they're in deep shit.
That's going to be the one game I have them win. And then they lose every other game. One Scooble start, depending on how things go. I think Guardians and Tigers, though, is going to go 4 or 5 for sure. regardless of how that series ends, whether it's Guardians or Tigers, I have that going 5. All right, National League, starting with Phillies and Mets. I want to believe in the Mets so bad, but I can't. I can't do it any further. I did have them beating the Brewers. I just want to say in my starting bracket, but I can't do it any longer.
I don't think I did.
Give me the Phillies, but give me the Phillies in 5 because I know that series is gonna be mad toxic.
Divisional.
And I wanted to go 5, and then Dodgers, Padres. Give me Dodgers in 4. I know. No Joe, I think, is going to be scary for the Padres because I know the Dodgers starting pitching isn't great either, but I think this is where the monster that I've seen many times in my dreams before, or my nightmares before, that is Shohei Ohtani, is going to show up and put the Dodgers on his back because we saw it in the WBC, man. When it counts, that man means business.
Unfortunately, won't be pitching. Unfortunately, won't be pitching though.
He will not be pitching. But at the plate, dude, I feel like he's really gonna turn it on. If he doesn't, if Shohei isn't playoff MVP, the Dodgers are losing to the Padres. But I feel like he will. And then give me Dodgers in 6 over the Phillies. Dodgers, Yankees, World Series. Yankees win in 6 games.
6 games.
You remember,
Final.
if that happens, though, that puts me halfway to my prediction of, remember what we said? I wonder, do you guys remember this conversation we had when Judge signed his big contract? And we were talking about how many World Series would Judge win? And I said that he's going to win 2 in that span. That would put me 1 closer.
During his contract duration?
Yeah, like during the extension.
Oh, okay.
And I said he will win 2.
I don't know, man. 2 is a pretty high ask, I feel like, for the Yankees. But, I mean, being in the AL is definitely helping them right now.
I want to see the Mets upset the Phillies.
Oh, I'm not saying...
I will say...
I wouldn't mind it.
Most fun World Series right now would probably be Mets-Yankees. Dude, if
that
the
would be
Mets could
awesome.
upset the Yankees.
Oh, my God.
Dude, tell me that wouldn't be electric.
Over under 100 and a half fights during the World Series.
I'm tempted, because of our survivor pool. I have the Phillies and the Dodgers, but I'd be so tempted to cheer for the Mets if they make it past the Phillies, because I'm assuming it's gonna be the Yankees on the other side. Dude.
Well, all I have left's
Oh
the
my
Padres,
God.
So I'm just rooting for entertainment.
It's gonna be a generational choke if the Yankees can't get to the World Series now.
Dude, I would. Oh my God, that
would be
I
a
don't even know.
generational upset.
Because at that point, are you guys even excited for the World Series if it's anyone but the Yankees out of the AL? I mean this in the least.
I think the most exciting would have to be the
mainstream
Tigers.
way possible.
It would have to be the
I just
Tigers.
realized how bad that sounded when I said that.
It would have to be the Tigers because
I didn't mean it like that.
if the Tigers
I
make
just mean
it, that
it
just means they are so hot right now. They'd be the best story, especially considering they
Well,
sold at the deadline. It would be the biggest underdog story.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
I
the
just
best.
I just think of it in the sense, I think that all the teams of the NL are good that are here. Okay, the Mets are all right, but the vibes of the Mets are immaculate.
Oh my.
But in the American League, I'm dude,
It would be pretty funny if
I think-
Bobby Witt eliminated
I
Aaron
think-
Judge. Just saying.
I think that would be funny. But I think the Mets are pretty. I think the Mets could beat pretty much anybody in the AL in a 5-game playoff series right now, other than the Yankees, and then maybe the Guardians. Maybe.
I think we're very.
I could be
confident
sleeping on
here
the
with-
Guardians a little bit.
We're very confident here that the Yankees could go all the way, but I just feel like deep down, I feel like there's going to be an upset. There's going to be an upset somewhere.
No, it feels a
The
disturbance.
America's
Dude, I
team,
feel like
the
I
Detroit
feel like
Tigers.
there's going to be an upset. It's going to be like the Royals or something, and they're going to do something. They're just going to for some reason,
They're gonna
the
lose in
one year-
4.
The one year
Or
when
some shit
Steve
like that.
Pierce hit a dozen home runs in the postseason or something like that. It's just gonna be someone. It just feels like there's
I
gonna
don't know,
be
man.
a moment or a player that's just gonna go completely off unexpectedly.
MJ Melendez.
It's just gonna completely throw everything out of whack for everyone.
Yoli Gurriel.
Continuing to haunt the Yanks.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, we have playoff series starting tomorrow, but oh boy, can't wait to talk about it with you guys. You know, in 2028 when the Pirates are in the division series.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Oh man. But until then, you know, Mike, I guess we don't need a Go Bucks right now. You know, maybe later. We'll save it for later when
Go
free
Bucks.
agency starts.
Season's
that's
over.
That's when they're really gonna need it. Actually, no. You know what they need it for will be the first overall pick. Is what they need it for. But we still got an episode on the way until then.
Absolutely.
But you know, actually, I'm not really sure how to end the show otherwise.
Yeah, it's not a Let's Go Bucks. It'd be like, yes, the season's over.
So
We're done.
Michael.
What do I say?
Say the words.
What do I say?
Go Bucks. I think it's something to do with Sultan.